Good morning, I'm Father Champagne with Mercy Minutes. We're looking at Mother Teresa as an icon of mercy, her spiritual life and her works of mercy. And one characteristic virtue of the missions of charity in Mother Teresa, but of all saints, is total surrender. A surrender totally into the hands of God. Of course, trust is an aspect of this, and it begets trust. But also, when we trust someone, then we're willing to give ourselves to them. And of course, what is not given over cannot be possessed by God. And when we're not given over to God, then there's a part of our life that's not for God. And of course, that's our lack of holiness. Holiness in heaven, there is nothing unholy up in heaven. Everyone's saints in heaven. And they're totally given over to God. And so in our spiritual lives, we have to try to grab every opportunity to love and serve God. Everything that God would ask of us, every little opportunity to grab it, no matter how small, to do these little things. But then to do them totally, to do them fully. If I only have a little bit, 5 degrees of charity, to love with 5 degrees. If I have 100, to give 100. But to give what I have, give what you got, Father Fry used to always tell us. But to give what we have, there is no such thing as a half saint. We're either total, we're all or nothing. And our totality should be lived to the full daily. The saints' lives were characterized by doing everything that God threw at them with as much love as they could master and muster. Mother Teresa would often say, quoting from Saint Therese, do little things with great love, and then we become saints.
Tell the people I love them. Tell the people I care. When they feel far away from me, tell the people I'm there.
Hello, and welcome to Tell the People, a program about our Catholic faith with news and information in and around the Catholic Diocese of Lafayette. I'm Trista Littell. We will have an interview with Catholic School Superintendents Anna Larriviere and Angela Trahan. In this segment, What It Means to Be Catholic, Father Keith Labove will be here talking about faithful citizenship for the upcoming election. And in our last segment, we will air a recent homily by Bishop Douglas Deshotel from the Mass at Fete, Dieu de Teche. But first, Catholic news on this September 4th weekend. Bereavement, that period of mourning after loss, especially losing a loved one due to death, affects all of us at some point in time. Companions Along the Journey is a bereavement support group available in the Catholic Diocese of Lafayette for those 18 years of age or older. Evening meetings are available on the second Thursday of each month from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. These meetings are hosted by Saints Peter and Paul Church at 1110 Old Spanish Trail in Scott in room number 1 of the new CCD building. For more information about these meetings, please contact Carla Oliver at 337-654-8917. Afternoon meetings are also held from 12 to 1 p.m. on the second and fourth Monday of each month in the Catherine Drexel Room of Immaculata Center at 1408 Carmel Drive in Lafayette. Caregivers of family and friends coping with dementia and/or Alzheimer patients have a support group. Remember Me is a faith-based support group for caregivers. No cost or registration is necessary. Those who are in need of support are simply invited to come and share ideas and resources with one another. The group meets in the ministry's building of St. Elizabeth Seton Church, located at 610 Rain Tree Trail in Lafayette, every third Monday of each month at 6:30 p.m. For more information, contact the parish office at 234-1483. Friends of St. Monica is a widow-to-widow bereavement support group hosted by Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church located at 700 South Broadway Street in Erath. The meetings are held in the parish hall from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. on the last Thursday of each month, except for the months of November and December. A meal is provided and all are welcome. Participants are asked to RSVP with Donna Hargrave by calling 501-8244. The annual Memorial Mass in honor of military chaplain Lieutenant Father Joseph Verbis LaFleur will be held at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, September 7th at St. Landry Church, located at 1020 North Street in Opelousas. He was taken as a prisoner of war by the Japanese, and on September 7th, 1944, he and several hundred other prisoners were killed. This is the 72nd anniversary of his death. All are invited and welcome to attend. A Respect Life meeting and workshop will be held Saturday, September 10th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, sponsored by the Office of Pro-Life Apostolate. This meeting is for parish pro-life coordinators and representatives. Bishop J. Douglas Deshotel will be present to give the invocation, followed by his address to those in attendance. The Respect Life packet will contain articles on topics including 7 considerations while navigating infertility, supporting expectant mothers considering adoption, bridges of mercy for post-abortion healing. Every suicide is tragic. Caring for loved ones at the end of life. Serene attentiveness to God's creation. The meeting will be held inside Marion Hall with pre-registration required. To register, go online at diolaf.org/pro-life. In this Jubilee year, we invite you to join Sacred Heart of Jesus Church in Port Barre as they travel by chartered bus to visit the pilgrimage sites in our diocese. The trip will be on Tuesday, September 13th. There will be 7 a.m. Mass, which we can all attend inside Sacred Heart of Jesus Church at 417 Cezanne Avenue in Port Barre. And the bus will depart at 7:45 a.m. from the church, where you can leave your car. Many of the pilgrimage sites will be visited. The expected arrival time back into Port Barre is approximately 6:45 p.m. and the price per person is $70. The price includes the motor coach transportation, lunch, donation at each visit, and snacks and individual bottles of water for the bus. If the bus is full, you can be placed on a waiting list as there will be another trip planned. For more information, call 235-3240. From September 29th through October 2nd, a special silent retreat entitled The Little Way will be offered. The depth and breadth of Teresa's Little Way continues to have relevance for us today. It is a simple yet profound path to encountering Jesus. Join Robin Hebert and walk this journey with Teresa as you guide and celebrate her feast day in a way that nourishes your own soul. Hosted by the Jesuit Spirituality Center, located at 313 Martin Luther King Drive in Grand Coteau, the retreat begins on Thursday, September 29th at 7 p.m. and ends at 12 noon on Sunday, October 2nd. The fee is $250 per person, $190 for commuters. Call 662-5251. And that's Catholic News for this week. Coming up next, an interview with Catholic School Superintendents Anna Larriviere and Angela Trahan. Joining us today are Anna Larriviere, Superintendent of Catholic Schools for the Diocese of Lafayette, and Angela Trahan, the Assistant Superintendent of Catholic Schools. Welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, before we get started, Angela, could you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a native of Lafayette. I am a product of Catholic education. I'm a graduate of Turlings Catholic High. This is my 18th year as an educator. I've been a teacher, Catholic school principal, and most recent Assistant Director of Federal Programs for Lafayette Parish School System.
Well, Anna, this certainly has not been the normal start of a school year with all that's been happening. Quite unexpected, as we might say. Could you tell us some of the things that have transpired thus far?
Well, before I do that, I want to welcome Angela to our office. She's truly a blessing, and I look forward to working with her for many years. As knowing her as the principal at Immaculate Heart of Mary several years ago. So a very special welcome to Angela, and I know that she will be a tremendous asset to me in our office as well as our schools. Yes, it has been quite an interesting start to a new school year, as we have all experienced the flood of 2016. Some of our schools had just begun the school year. Others were not quite there yet, and then the flood took place. But you know, Trista, we've been very blessed because our 33 schools have really not suffered any major damage from the flood. But I think what it has done more than anything is that it has really brought our school communities together. Many of our own faculty, staff, many of our students and their families really have lost everything. And we closed most of our schools for the entire week, and it gave an opportunity to many of our schools who put students on school buses and brought them to subdivisions that were just totally damaged, and they put on their boots and they put on their mask, and they were of a tremendous help to helping these people rebuild. And to me, that speaks more volumes than being in a classroom and being educated with a textbook. And so I think it's taught all of us that in times of need, especially in natural disasters, that we down south really step to the plate and help those who have been less fortunate than us. And so I just want to thank all of our school communities, beginning with our principals, our pastors, some of our own staff who really left their homes and went out to help these people on the road to rebuilding.
I bet books could be written about all that's been done.
Well, I would hope that, you know, the stories that I haven't heard them all, but that many of the stories that our young people and our school communities, you know, have really done this past week, I hope that those stories can be told to others because I think it's a tremendous coming together. We are the church, and we have reached out. Our young people have reached out to those who have been affected. You know, so as we begin a new school year, is it what we wanted? Absolutely not. But I think the Lord has asked greater things of us, and that's to reach out to those in need.
Absolutely. Well, do you have any new principals starting this year, Anna?
Well, we do. St. Thomas More has Kelly Leger. St. Thomas More went to the president principal model, and so Kelly has been at the school for 20 plus years, and she's the principal, and Mr. Richard Laverne is the president. And then Schools of the Sacred Heart have a new head of schools, Dr. Yvonne Adler. So we're very happy to have welcomed them when we had our beginning of the year mass, and with our bishop, who was very supportive and gave a wonderful mission, you know, to our people to begin a new school year. So I know that with his support and his involvement in our schools, we can do nothing but move forward in the wonderful way.
What kind of services are provided by the Catholic schools?
Well, you know, Angela is going to be working with curriculum directors, technology coordinators, development directors, testing coordinators. We really provide a networking where we can assist them in whatever needs that, you know, we can, you know, help them to make their ministry a little bit easier. So Angela will be hitting the ground running, and I know will be, you know, her background as a principal and as a teacher will certainly help in those areas. So, you know, that's what I hope that we as the Office of Catholic Schools can provide, you know, support, you know, and to our principals, you know, sometimes it's just a listening ear.
Sure.
You know, when, you know, they have issues that they're dealing with, that they know that they can call someone at the central office and just know that what they're going through, that we can be compassionate with them and supportive. So together, hopefully, we can continue to do that for them.
So as you provide support for staff, why would a parent want to send their child to Catholic school? What kind of services do they provide?
Well, I would hope that when a parent is looking to send their child to one of our schools, that first and foremost, it's for the Catholic identity. You know, reading, writing, and arithmetic is part of the school day, but I would hope that they are choosing us so that we can partner with their child and with them as a family to make their faith stronger in their beliefs, and that everything else falls into place.
I know there are a lot of things that the Catholic schools do in the community right now. It's very, very visible with what's going on with the disaster, but besides that, there's quite a few other things that
and
take
there's
place.
Campus ministers, there's, you name it, and our schools provide it. And I think that that's the beauty of what we can provide to not just our local school community, but to branch out to the wider community.
Well, if people want to get in touch with someone about sending their child to Catholic school, how would they go about it?
Well, we have a diocesan website, and they certainly can go to that website and click on schools, and all of our schools have their individual websites, and certainly they can click on there and there's information there. And if not, they can certainly call our office, 261-5529.
Well, thank you both for joining us today, and welcome
Thank you.
in your new position. God bless you all and all who are getting ready to start the school new year.
Thank you, Trista.
Coming up next in the segment, What It Means to Be Catholic, Father Keith Labove will be here talking about faithful citizenship for the upcoming election.
Hello, and welcome to this segment of our series on what it means to be Catholic. I am Father Keith Labove, and I've been given the opportunity to speak to you during this month of September on the topic of faithful citizenship. As we move toward the fall elections, it is not my goal to tell you how to vote, nor is it my goal to endorse anyone or anything except the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ and the social teaching of the Catholic Church. I'll be presenting some fundamental principles of that social teaching. It is my hope that these principles will help you in forming your own conscience as a guide for your involvement in the political process. Central to these reflections is a document that the U.S. bishops have revised and reissued every 4 years since 1976, entitled Forming Consciences for Faithful Citizenship. It is freely available on the U.S. Bishop's website, and I recommend reading it. I will only be able to highlight a few main points over the next few weeks. That document, Faithful Citizenship, covers a lot of ground. It describes how important it is that people of faith be involved and engaged in the political process in our country. The bishops affirm that the faith-filled voice of the Church is essential to the political conversation that takes place in the public square. Probably most significant is the simple truth that we cannot leave our faith behind at the door of the voting booth. Not only must we take seriously our civic responsibility as citizens, but we must also make sure that the choices we make are formed and guided by our faith. As the document has been revised from election to election, we've seen more of church teaching included in the document. In addition, the document has a section that attempts to speak to the particular issues of the day. Because of this, the document addresses thoughts and ideas that are both changing and unchanging. The fundamental social teaching of the Church, rooted in the gospel, is of course constant. So the document highlights the importance of 4 basic principles: the dignity of the human person, the common good, subsidiarity, and solidarity. These principles provide a framework for what we call a consistent ethic of life. However, when it comes to applying those principles to specific issues, the focus will change over time depending on the particular challenges that happen to face our church and our nation. For example, in recent years, we have seen more attention given to the call to care for our environment as threats against clean air and clean water have increased due to human activity. The threats to innocent human life remain constant even as the family and religious freedom become challenged in new ways. Yet, even as the issues may shift in importance, the fundamental teaching remains the same. The bishop's document also recognizes that exercising faithful citizenship often presents us with hard choices. There is no perfect candidate or perfect political party. With that in mind, the document warns us against two dangers. We must never lose sight of the fact that some actions are never justifiable, especially attacks against innocent human life such as abortion and euthanasia. These kinds of immoral choices must always be opposed. The second danger would be to let these attacks on human life blind us to other real threats to human dignity such as racism, the death penalty, unjust war, the use of torture, hunger, poverty, and a lack of respect for human persons. These threats must be opposed as well. It is for this reason that the bishop's document speaks of conscience and prudence. Each of us must be attentive to forming our own consciences in accord with the broad scope of Catholic social teaching. The virtue of prudence will assist us in balancing the choices we must make as we seek to avoid evil and to promote the good. That well-formed conscience will guide us in prudently making choices that protect life while building a more just and peaceful world. The document says in section 37, in making these decisions, it is essential for Catholics to be guided by a well-formed conscience that recognizes that all issues do not carry the same moral weight, and that the moral obligation to oppose policies promoting intrinsically evil acts has a special claim on our consciences and on our actions. These decisions should take into account a candidate's commitments, character, integrity, and ability to influence a given issue. In the end, this is a decision to be made by each Catholic, guided by conscience, formed by Catholic moral teaching. Our nation was founded on the truth that all persons are created equal. At the same time, the reality of many people's lives over the centuries has often been marked more by a lack of equality, especially with our history of slavery and racism. Yet Americans do continue to see equality as a value for our political life. The gospel, on the other hand, often calls us to go beyond equality as we strive to imitate Jesus. It was Jesus himself who taught us, whatsoever you do to the least of these, you do unto me. Therefore, Catholic social teaching embraces a preferential option for the poor, seeking to stand with those who are most likely to be denied the goods of society. We strive to go beyond equality to justice. Next time, we shall explore the importance of building up the common good as the proper goal of every government.
Thank you, Father Labove. Coming up next, a recent homily by Bishop Douglas Deshotel from the Mass at Fete de Teche.
Bonjour et bienvenue à tous. L'Église fête sur ce jour, le 15 août, chaque année, la fête de l'Assomption de la Sainte Vierge Marie. C'est désigné une solennité parce qu'après le célébrer, cette fête donne la force à une doctrine importante de la foi catholique. C'est aussi un jour où on fête dans notre diocèse de Lafayette l'arrivée des Acadiens au sud de la Louisiane. On voit que la fête commence avec cette messe de la Sainte Mère et continue avec la procession, avec le Saint-Sacrement, et de faire prier le chapelet, la bénédiction aux plusieurs églises au bord de la route de la procession. Cette fête de l'Assomption de la Sainte Vierge Marie célébrait une croyance tenue dans l'Église depuis le VIe siècle et prononcée comme une vérité sans erreur depuis 1950 par le pape Pieux XII. Cette croyance dit qu'à la fin de sa vie terrestre, la Sainte Vierge Marie, Mère de Dieu, n'a pas eu l'expérience de la manière normale de la mort et de la corruption de son corps, mais elle a été glorifiée et prise tout de suite au ciel. La Sainte Vierge Marie a été créée sans péché et a resté comme ça pour toute sa vie. L'ange Gabriel dit que Marie est pleine de grâce et Marie est bénie parce qu'elle a entendu la parole de Dieu et l'a gardée. Ce privilège spécial était donné à Marie parce qu'elle a une partie unique dans le plan de Dieu pour la rédemption du monde. Elle sera la mère de Dieu, l'arche de l'alliance et la nouvelle Ève. Les pères de l'Église expliquant que Marie était permis de partager en avance dans la victoire et la rédemption qui sera accomplie par la souffrance et la mort de Jésus sur la croix et par sa résurrection. En effet, beaucoup de pères de l'Église disent que Marie est la plus sauvée de toute l'humanité. À cause de ça, Marie prend part dans les conséquences du péché, la mort et la corruption, mais tout de suite, elle a reçu la gloire de la nouvelle vie, au même temps qu'elle a été prise au ciel. L'Assomption de Marie est importante pour tous les chrétiens. Elle est restée debout comme un signe pour nous autres, un souvenir pour nous autres, aussi qu'ayant profité de la résurrection de son Fils à la nouvelle vie. La vieille personne est morte, mais notre nouvelle vie dans le Christ va se lever dans la résurrection glorieuse pour être aussi prisée au ciel comme Jésus et Marie. Cette foi était tenue par nos ancêtres qui ont été jetés de leur maison dans ce que est austère la Nouvelle-Écosse au Canada. À cause de leur foi catholique, ils ont perdu leur terre, leur fortune et pour quelques leur vie aussi. Plusieurs ont été capables de partir et sont venus pour s'établir au sud de la Louisiane, où ils ont eu l'opportunité de vivre en liberté avec leur foi catholique et culture catholique. La procession avec le Saint-Sacrement aujourd'hui doit nous rappeler que juste comme nos ancêtres ont vu l'importance de porter leur foi à leur nouvelle terre, nous autres aussi devons donner cette foi à nos enfants et à nos descendants. Que le bon Dieu vous bénisse tous, au nom du Père et du Fils et du Saint-Esprit, ainsi soit-il.
Join us next week as we're scheduled to air another homily by Bishop Deshotel. Father Keith Labove will be here talking about faithful citizenship for the upcoming election. And we will have an interview with Deacon Barney Lejeune about healing the wounds of suicide survivors. We hope you have enjoyed our program because it is produced for you. So please join us next week on this station as we tell the people about the Diocese of Lafayette and the good news of our Catholic faith.